and share my little Kindle, which seems to have shut down again by itself. There we go. Right. Do we still feel the need to revisit number 8? Oh, I'll go that way. Now that Carly has clarified the one ship for us. We probably still should now that it makes more sense, shall we? Who wants to read it?
Number 6, did you say?
Number 8.
Number 8. I'll go ahead and read.
Okay.
To teach the whole one-ship without exception demonstrates that you perceive its wholeness and have learned that it is one. Now you must be vigilant to hold its oneness in your mind. If you let doubt enter, you will lose awareness and its wholeness and will be unable to teach it. The wholeness of the kingdom does not depend on your perception, but your awareness of its wholeness does. It is only your awareness that needs protection, since being cannot be assailed. Yet a real sense of being cannot be yours while you are doubtful of what you are. This is why vigilance is essential. Doubts about being must not enter your mind, or you cannot know what you are with certainty. Certainty is of God for you. Vigilance is not necessary for truth, but it is necessary against illusion.
That feels a lot easier this week.
It does, doesn't it?
The wholeness of the kingdom does not depend on your perception, but your awareness of its wholeness does. Your awareness of the kingdom's wholeness? Or your perception, but awareness of your perception does. I'm not sure what it means there, what it's referring to.
Truth, read it again.
The wholeness of the kingdom does not depend on your perception, but your awareness of its wholeness does.
Perception of its wholeness does.
Well, the piece before that, V, says, if you let doubt enter, you will lose awareness of the wholeness and will be unable to teach it. So basically your perception, will lose the awareness, where your awareness, the wholeness doesn't get lost once you're fully aware, internal.
Okay.
Inclusive.
And especially once you've fully accepted the oneness and wholeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're being it.
Yeah.
Since being
Okay.
cannot be a same. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Any more explanation required?
Well, for me, Tanea, with her sharing today with her ex-husband and new husband, it was the experience of her awareness of being the oneness in her, with me as her witness, hearing the truth. So I had no illusion that she was in any doubt that there was only love between all three people. And she's totally aware of that. And I got to be the witness.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm going to make some notes. And Joe, was this where you got your vigilance against delusions from practicing from last week?
Yeah, that last sentence there.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I've got a question for all of us. How would
Yeah.
we, as we all live from a different set of illusions, how would we practice being vigilant against illusions? Like, I'm aware of a belief that I've got that really creates separation, that I know that I require to be really vigilant about. And I'm trying to put that belief into words. And I think it would sound something like this. It's a form of fear, but it's a fear of I'm on my own and I'm by myself and it's up to me. It's this old ancient survival thing that I have had. And I won't say I struggle with it, but when I'm aware of it, I fight it back and I replace it with something else. And when I think about what I want to work on next week, it's going to be that, to be vigilant against my illusion that I'm alone and it's up to me. So I just think, especially because this one, I think is super important about the vigilance against our individual illusions. It's not about illusions, it's about my individual illusions, your individual illusions. I think it'd be useful to identify, if you guys are willing, what your individual illusion is, and maybe we state it and say, this is what mine is. And we're going to be committed to doing that and write it down. So when it comes to the end of the course, we go, okay, I'm working on this like all next week. Does that sound, are people up for that?
I love it.
I
And I've just
wanna
written
make the
mine down
course
because it's very
something that's
similar.
me. Oh yeah, cool.
I
Yeah,
felt the
I've
same
always
way, B. Mhm.
I've always thought I've had to do everything myself.
Yeah.
And we don't do anything by ourselves. I find that I haven't thought about that for a long time. And I actually feel like I'm doing a lot more with other people. There are still some things I definitely don't want to hand over. I'm a control freak with my work. But yeah, even with that, I've actually got an admin lady and I'll talk through anything with her, and I do give her more. So yeah, but I've forgotten about it, but I think it's still in the back there making decisions for me. So that's great. Thanks, Gary. Anyone else? No, Jane, did you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, but I have to say, I think mine has, I think it's predicated on the voice that says you're not enough. And when you think maybe that you're in lack, you're going to be afraid to be alone. And you're not going to, well, and in in number 9 it says truth is without illusions. But yeah, so what is the truth? The truth is that we're not separate. The truth is that it's our own inability to connect with the light, to know that we are part of the light and we're part of, and again it's it gets back to the ego, just gets back to the ego. So so yeah, I feel somewhat similar. It's like, I don't want to be without love. I don't, in my life, I don't want to be without sharing. I don't want to be alone. It's nice to have alone time, but yeah. So that aloneness, and it's like, well, wait a minute, but you are enough. Oh yes, yes, I really am, aren't I? So it's reminding yourself, and getting away from the separateness. that
Mm.
keeps us in love and joy.
Yeah, this word about vigilance, for me, it makes sense in my mind. In yoga language, it's known as the seer or the witness, and it's that unchanging part of yourself. And one of the reasons I'm writing about classical yoga right now is because it very much is about duality, whereas modern yoga, it's moved into sort of more tantra-based practices about sort of union and oneness. But the problem with this union and oneness is it's almost like it, in a way, it's kind of like a bit of spiritual bypassing in a way, to just immediately, I think you have to understand the duality before you can embrace the oneness, because there's always that doubt. There's always doubts in all of our minds, because that's a part of the dualistic nature of ourselves and of all of nature. So until we accept that there's always going to be that other little voice, I'm not worthy, or I'm alone, or I'm this, or I'm that. But to understand that vigilance is God. The vigilance is the God mind, or the divine mind. And that's the witness that keeps bringing us back to the truth. So, the Yoga Sutra that says the same sort of thing here is that the seer, which is the witness, the divine consciousness, the seer abides in its own true nature. Truth or illusion is up to you. So that's saying that, we always have the power to move into the dark side or move into the light. It's a constant moment-to-moment process of choice. So every single moment we have a choice. Do I swing over into the darkness, or do I swing over here into the light? So when we have that thought of I'm alone, I'm not worthy, yes, that's real, that exists there, but it's up to us in that moment to just flick the switch and think of the equal opposite, and that's the moment-to-moment choice. And the way I'm saying it's making it sound easy, but the discipline is, the way that we instill that and practice that is through whatever spiritual practices we're doing, through our daily discipline practices, whether it's meditation or, yoga posture practice, spiritual, going to church, whatever it is for you. It's like, neurons that fire together, wire together. So where are you thinking more? Are you entertaining the darkness more? Are you entertaining the light more? And I think that's what it comes down to. It's just recognizing the doubt, and constantly turning the mind. And I think that's what this one's really saying here. And I think that's what a lot of these verses are saying. What I'm getting out of it is just, it's that vigilance, moment to moment, to catch yourself when you think that negative, doubtful thought, immediately turn the mind towards the truth.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I like that.
Gary,
And I-
when you
and I
first said
think-
to do some homework from this, sorry, Jane, my first thing was to, I was listening to a CD of Gary Wayne Dyer, and it just sits in my mind all the time now, that he was talking to this lady who was overweight in a big, forum of people, and he asked her, "Well, you want to lose weight?" And she's like, "Yes." And will it be difficult? And she says, yes. And he says, are you certain of that? And she goes, no. So this is where the doubt comes in. And then he says, well, will it be easy? She says, no. And he says, are you certain of this? And she says, no. And he says, well, which one do you want to choose?
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of Byron Katie's work. Does anyone know Byron Katie?
Absolutely.
The,
Absolutely.
Very knows Byron.
and her work on the truth, and that is, she asked the question, is it true? Is it really true? And then what would happen? Someone else might know this. I'm just trying to remember it. How would it feel if it wasn't true? It'll come back to me in a minute. It's just how do you feel when you think about that thought? So yeah, 5 things. So is it true? Is it really true? How do you feel when you think about that thought? Observe how you feel when you think about it. How would you feel without that thought? And write down all the ways. The fifth thing is write down all the ways that it isn't true. And that's one of the ways that we can do the rewiring.
There is a turnaround in there. So I can't quote it for a fact, but I'd support all of us in looking at Byron Katie's. I think is it 4 or 5 questions tonight?
It's 5 exercises, so it's
5 exercises, but I think she has 4 or 5 questions, and the way I remember it is it true? Can I really know that it's true? Who am I without this belief? I may be making this up right now, so I'm not going to go any further than that. But the way I morphed it was, who am I without this belief? What would I prefer to be thinking that would bring me peace? And I shortened it a bit for my classes, and found that when I shortened it to those 4 questions, that people got it. They got it very simply, because I found that the turnaround Katie would do, which was beautiful and effective and powerful, it got people confused. So I just really simplified it, and it got really good results. So look it up. I think we're both struggling to remember what exactly how our process goes, but there's 3 different versions that we've given you, or at least 2 different versions.
Yes.
Somewhere around there, we have the true one.
Yep.
Can I just add a bit about her process? What I really liked about it, the turnaround bit, was like, if what you're believing is that person hurt me, then you would also look at it like, after you've done, is that true? It's like, did I hurt them? Did they not hurt? And sort of, and ask the question from lots of different angles. I really like that about it.
Yeah. It's powerful stuff. It definitely is. Simple.
And that's playing with perspective, and then you realize it's, your little story that you've made up. You can make up anything you want.
Thus the illusion.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Gary, could you just repeat the 3rd and the 4th version that you said for that?
Is it true? Can I really know that it's true? Who am I without this belief? And what would I prefer to be thinking that would bring me peace? It's very simple to remember, and it works.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shall we move on to number 9?
Yes, at this rate, we will never get through the Course of Miracles.
Exactly. So there's no fear of that. And if we do, we'll just start again.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Wouldn't hurt us.
Yes. Carol,
Who would
are
like to
you
read
all right?
number 9?
Carly's top of my screen. I vote for Carly.
Okay. I've got the sort of giggles now. Truth is it without illusions and therefore within the kingdom. Everything outside the kingdom is illusion. When you threw truth away, you saw yourself as if you were without it. By making another kingdom that you valued, you did not keep only the kingdom of God in your mind, and thus placed part of your mind outside it. What you made has imprisoned your will and given you a sick mind that must be healed. Your vigilance against the sickness is the way to heal it. Once your mind is healed, it radiates health and thereby teaches healing. This establishes you as a teacher who teaches like me. Vigilance is required of me as much as of you, and those who choose to teach the same thing must be in agreement about what they believe. There's
I love. Go ahead.
a couple of things in there, like about vigilance, which is like vigilance is required of me as much as of you. So who's me?
Doesn't this talk from the Christ perspective?
It does.
Yeah.
I suppose it just sort of why that seems strange was it's like vigilance against me, and I think is that what vigilance is against truth. I sort of think that it's speaking from truth, and then that doesn't work with vigilance is not necessary for truth.
Mm. I think when I was looking at that, it's vigilance against the part of your mind that you kept outside of the kingdom, and to just be aware that we've got our little ego and our duality stuff going on out here because we have not included ourselves wholly in the kingdom.
Well, one of the lines, the second sentence, it goes, by making another kingdom that you valued, you did not keep only the kingdom of God in your mind, and thus place part of your mind outside it, which is what
Yes.
we've all done. Our own personal perceptions, the beliefs about our physical body and our relationships, that we're separate, and all that stuff is really the laziness of seeing the creation all as something outside us, and we're separate from it. And that, I think, is what causes everything. All the suffering is caused by that,
Yeah.
not one belief. Does anyone have any questions about that paragraph? No? Okay. Who would like to read next?
I will.
Good job,
I'm
Nick.
voting for
Go, Jane.
no,
Okay.
Jane, someone.
Yes.
Sure. 10. The third step, then, is a statement of what you want to believe and entails a willingness to relinquish everything else. The Holy Spirit will enable you to take this step. If you follow him, your vigilance is the sign that you want him to guide you. Vigilance does require effort. but only until you learn that effort itself is unnecessary. You have exerted great effort to preserve what you made because it was not true. Therefore, you must now turn your effort against it. Only this can cancel out the need for effort and call upon the being which you both have and are. This recognition is wholly without effort, since it is already true and needs no protection. It is the perfect safety of God. It is in the perfect safety of God. Therefore, inclusion is total and creation is without limit.
The last paragraphs in these little sections are always so beautiful.
Mm.
It puts a whole new spin on that word vigilance. Initially, it kind of sounded a bit kind of fierce, but now
awkward.
your vigilance is a sign that you want him to guide you. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I just wrote
yeah,
that down.
I like it. I didn't like it in the beginning either,
And
but now, yeah.
how does it feel for you, Joe? Because initially vigilance was part of your little weekly lesson, and it was
Being vigilant has been a part of my life.
yeah.
And I think that stems from the traumas of childhood up. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I'm always aware of that not so nice energy that could potentially come out of anywhere, anytime. And so this whole reminder of just remaining vigilant is kind of hitting me in a sense to where my vigilance is, or was, excuse me, my vigilance was in the wrong place. I was more or less looking out for what I didn't want, which was creating more of that to come towards me. And after like this past week and really, realizing what I did to myself, I more or less have had the realization that I only need to keep my eyes on the prize, on where I'm going, on who I'm allowing to direct me, and not what may come in the way of me getting there.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope you guys don't mind me sharing this, but I can't help. For me, it's really instilling just all my yoga practices, and it's just loving the crossover between this and yoga philosophy. For example, vigilance does require effort, but only until you learn that effort itself is unnecessary. So for me, that speaks of the 8 limbs of yoga, and the first 4 limbs, yama and niyama, which are pretty much the 10 commandments of yoga, the 10 ethical precepts, non-violence, truthfulness, all the others. And then asana, so you can think of that as a physical discipline, postural practice, pranayama, conscious breathing. So these practices which require effort to attone the mind so you can actually sit still for a long period of time. And then once you've done the effort and you've done whatever the effort is for you. So for someone, it might just be going to church every day. That might be where the effort is, or just doing acts of service in the community. That might be the effort. So doing the effort, and then once you've got a habit of that effort, then it starts to become effortless. And that's where the next 4 limbs of yoga come in. So that's when the pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, concentration, meditation, samadhi. And samadhi is really just that one-ship, that oneness. But there's been a journey, and the first part of the journey does require effort, consistent, daily, regular effort, moment-to-moment effort of vigilance. And that vigilance in yoga practice as well is constantly, because ultimately yoga is about the mind. It's not about the body, and it's about being vigilant of where is my mind in every single moment? Where is my mind in this posture? Where is my mind in this breath practice? How am I using my energy? So, there needs to be like a structure, whatever lineage or belief system you're coming from. There first needs to be a structure, and that's where the effort is. So vigilance does require effort. So what methodology are you using to discipline yourself? Because we all need some kind of methodology. We can't just wake up in the morning and throw ourselves to the wind. Otherwise, our mind will keep going into those dark recesses, and then, eventually that discipline starts to become more and more effortless. And for me, in my, physical yoga practice, I've gone from really teaching this really strong vinyasa and, the postural side of yoga to now really slowing down and coming more into the yin aspects of yoga, which is more effortless. It's about, now sort of seeing the mind from that vigilant place without having to do all of those crazy postures, and without having to be of so much service. Like, let's look at someone who's doing acts of service in the community, or working, Gary, for example, with all of your clients and all the workshops and everything you're doing, we can start to pull back on that and start to work on a much more, like in this group, for example. I'm on a big sort of stream of consciousness here. I hope you don't mind. But, in this small group of 8, it's quite powerful, because the 8 of us are taking away these lessons in our small circles of life, which is creating this ripple effect outward. And sometimes I think that is more powerful than going out there and sort of enforcing, sort of preaching or, that kind of thing. And I think that's where this speaks of the effortlessness, and that's where it speaks of to teach peace. What is it? To have peace, teach peace, to learn it. So, it's not about going out there and preaching it in big, large groups of people necessarily, but just in your small circles of life. And then that creates the ripple effects that are long lasting.
Yes. So just living it rather than rah-rahing it.
Yeah.
Which is why these lessons are proving so good, I think, because we're not just doing our little lesson, our little hour together, and then forgetting about it till next week. And even if we think we have, how many of you said, I've just looked at my note and realized that I have been doing it from last week? Yeah. So, even if you don't have the post-it note in front of you all the time, you've still come back with a lesson from last week of, it's powerful stuff, because we're actually embodying this. We're not just sitting in a seminar room for 3 hours and and then leaving everything behind. Well, I think that's a beautiful place to finish the lesson for this week. Shall I shut down the screen?
Yeah.
See each other properly and have
Probably.
our little, what are we taking away to learn for this week?
I'm hoping Jane's okay because she dropped out of the class
yes.
and I'm worried about the tornado warning. So
Oh, yes.
I'm hoping she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
just a
I'll check
thought.
up on it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
Are
I've
we,
got mine.
are we able to stay in contact? What's the best way that we can all communicate outside of here? Is it the WhatsApp group or the Messenger?
I would love to have everybody's email addresses if you guys are willing to share emails. And I didn't know we had a WhatsApp group. Do we have a WhatsApp group?
yeah,
There's
Tanae
Jane.
Well,
started one. Oh, she's
I
back.
We were
started
worried
one.
about you, Jane.
I started one and I thought that might be, put it to V to share it with you guys because I didn't want to impose, but if everyone's happy with being added to the WhatsApp group, that might be a nice way of just, you know, messaging throughout the week, any little
Yeah.
thoughts or.
So, Gary, do you use WhatsApp?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Because the rest
I
of
use
us are in the
Slack
Messenger
and-
stream, but you don't like
Say again,
Messenger,
Karen?
so we will use the let's use the WhatsApp. I think
Yeah,
I did
doesn't
share it
matter.
in the Messenger stream, and I'll give it to you, Gary, or listen to know you want to email
Okay.
Gary, then he's got your email address as well.
So does everyone have Gary's email address? So if everyone emails Gary your mobile phone number, and then Gary, if you can email all the phone numbers to me, I can add everyone into the WhatsApp group or
Do
invite
I
it.
have your email address? I'm not
Yes,
100% sure I do.
but I will email you now again so you have it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And then I need to, what do I need to do with the phone numbers after that?
Just email them to me, and then
Okay, perfect.
and then I can add everyone into the WhatsApp group.
Well, why don't
Okay.
we just email you, Tanea?
Okay, yeah, let me put my email into the chat right now, and that would be make more
Save
sense,
another
wouldn't it?
chore for Gary.
Cut out the middleman. There you go. There's my email address.
Yes, wherever you can cut me out of doing anything is good.
Except showing up.
So everybody email me your mobile number and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group.
Beautiful.
Oh, and remember to put the country code on the front.
Yeah.
That's the same email I've got, isn't it, Tanea?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Beautiful. Let's do that.
Love
That'll
it.
be fun.
So who's got lessons for this week to take away?
I have.
Go for it, Carly.
Inclusion is total and creation is without limit.
Mine is I am vigilant against the illusion of it's all up to me and I'm alone.
Mine was Coralie's, but now I'm using my second one, which is I am a witness of the conscious mind of the kingdom.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice, Carly. I like
Mm.
that.
Mine's simple. Is it true?
Is it true? I love
Is
that.
it true?
I love that.
That's
Whatever I
perfect.
think, is it true?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's so powerful. 3 words.
Yeah.
mm.
I'm going to steal that too, Ron. I'm going with that one as
Okay.
well.
Mm. I'm just gonna go with one ship.
Yes.
One ship. Where's the one ship? Am I in
Yeah.
the one ship? The one ship. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, Have you?
Yeah, I was just scanning the group looking for the WhatsApp link.
That's
and
all
I'm
right,
not
'cause-
seeing it.
Yeah, I'll send you, you've got Tanaya's email address from the chat?
Yeah, as long as I don't lose it, I'll have to do it like as soon as I shut my computer down, so I don't
Yeah.
lose the
If you
the
lose it,
email.
let me know, because I've got it.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with vigilance again. Your
Yeah.
vigilance is the sign that you want him to guide you,
Hmm.
which I want to remove guide and replace it with direct. So your vigilance is the sign that you want him to direct you.
Go for it. Looking forward to finding out how we trek next week.
I hope I don't kick my own butt again.
Beautiful.
Okay, everybody. We will see you
Anybody
next
else?
week. And, I think, was that it?
Not everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
because of Linda's dropped off, and she was only listening anyway. So yeah.
Mhm.
Great. Well, we'll see you next week, and maybe talk on WhatsApp.
Wonderful.
Sounds good. Everybody have a great week.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Blessings.
Bye.
Mwah.